2009 Futura boards are basically the pure freeride boards in the Starboard range. And the Futura boards is basically now into its second season. Last season it won many tests. It received a few awards as the best in test board and the tester's choice. It was an all-new design and it took the world by storm. 2009 Futura boards are basically following a design philosophy that we call impossible engineering. Why is it impossible engineering? Basically, the brief for the Futura board is to combine what is normally considered impossible in a board. You have, for example, maximum speed, but at the same time, you want a board that is extremely easy and accessible for a rider to get onto. You also want a board that is extremely high performance, but at the same time, extremely comfortable. So normally these two design parameters are conflicting, and what we have to do in the Futura is that we managed to put it all together by coming up with a new concept based upon extra slim shapes. But what happens is that when you apply this extra slim concept onto the freeride segment, that you have a board which is extremely fast, wide and powerful, but at the same time it's also very maneuverable. It feels like a much smaller board, and the carving sensation is a lot more responsive. It's a little bit like when you switch from driving a four-wheel drive car, which is really big and heavy, down to a low-down sports car. All of a sudden, with the lower center of gravity, you have a board or a car that is a lot more responsive, a lot more controllable and maneuverable at the same time. The first thing we did to the Futuras was to put in a very, very deep deck concave, which again lowers the center of gravity even further. Not only that, but in the back section of the board, you'll see that there's a lot more dome compared to previous years. And what happens then is you do two things. Obviously, you improve the comfort of the board because you have a more dome section under your feet. And at the same time, it also shifts the center of gravity further backwards. So with the deck concave and the dome in the tail, you have a low center of gravity, but at the same time, the center of gravity will move further back. What happens when the center of gravity moves back is that you will have a board that feels a lot more neutral under your feet. It will feel like the board is more under control and closer to you, so it feels a lot more natural. It's basically the next evolution in freeride design.